inside of it. Hey, it's Izzy and what's been busy. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all how I like to organize my bags. This video was highly requested and I want to show you all how we organize things with tiny spaces like these, because let's be honest, living out of a few bags is not a lot of territory to put a lot of your stuff in, but we have found ways to make it all work. So without further ado, let's get into this video. These bags were specifically from Amazon. We have gotten a ton of different bags during the course of this homeless journey because in the beginning, back in 2022, we did not have travel friendly bags like these. We just had some standard school backpacks and they worked for a little while, but as time went on, they were starting to really break down, especially since we were traveling with them a lot. But eventually, in the beginning of 2024, a volunteer gave us gift cards, and with the gift cards, we were able to upgrade our bags. I will have links to them down in the description. You all always ask where we got these bags from. Both of these bags came with toiletry bags as well. This one goes with this bag, and this one goes with this one. These are two completely different brands, by the way, and we liked the brands for specific things. So this one is my clothing bag, this one is for personal items, and this one does have a little bit more give, so we're able to stuff it a little bit more. This one is more structured, but that means we can put heavier items in it because some of these are a little bit more cheap, so they don't hold up as well depending on what you're putting in it. I don't even use this one as my toiletry bag. I actually store my art stuff in here versus this one. This toiletry bag has everything in it. You name it, it's in here. So I am in here daily, and usually this is just in the bathroom, and this is across the board for my entire family members. So let me show you my mom's bag, for example. This is her personal bag, and then this is actually her clothing bag. So we all have specific bags and they're all color coded just so we know immediately whose bag is who. This toiletry bag is so spacious that it can hold a whole bottle of perfume. This toiletry bag has protected this perfume big time, but it's not practical. My mom has expressed so many times how she has been really wanting to get rid of it, and it doesn't really fit within our lifestyle. But I will say it has been really handy because we have these bags, of course, and when you're putting the clothes in the bag, they can tend to get this weird smell. And even if the clothes are clean, having just everything smushed in this small space, I think attracts this like funky smell. So what we'll do is we'll actually spray a little bit of perfume on the clothes. Having this scent around reminds me a lot of my mom because this is like her signature scent, but I have been wanting to find my own signature scent. On February 1st, I will be turning 18, and let's just say I'm a beginning woman, meaning I am new to womanhood, but I want to find something that makes me feel so beautiful and girly. And because of our situation, no offense, but I do not want to be in the same position as my mom. I think it's best to have a tiny bottle of perfume that will fit into our tiny bags, which is why I'm in love with Scentbird, with kindly sponsoring today's video. I tried 4 different perfumes this month and they all put me in a different mood. The first 2 I tried was Maison Marie No. 14 and Mudo Brand New, but it smelled so strong on me, which was giving grown woman energy. My favorite perfumes this month are So Pretty from Kenzie and Light Blue from Dolce & Gabbana. Light Blue contains exotic bamboo and cedars. I felt like I was on a mini vacation because it reminded me a lot of nature. So Pretty by Kenzie, on the other hand, makes me feel like a little princess. I feel so girly and confident when I wear it, and I guess I can say I feel so pretty when I wear this perfume. The Pink Lady Apple with the tangerine is just chef's kiss, and citrus scents always make me feel at ease. They're just so soothing, so I like to spray a little bit of this before I go to bed. I like with Scentbird that I don't have to worry about anything spilling out because it has a lock feature. I can easily pop it in my bag without having to worry about it breaking because it has a protective case. I mean, think about it, having an 8-milliliter bottle of perfume or cologne is more beneficial for you, especially if you're trying to find your signature scent. And with Scentbird, it's so inexpensive expensive because the first month is only $8, and after that you're only spending less than $17 a month. If you want to start your journey with Scentbird, you can scan the QR code over here, or you can use my code IzzyBizzy to get 55% off when you click the link below. You will get free delivery and a free case, so why not give it a go? Thank you so much, Scentbird, for sponsoring this portion of the video, and let me show you all what's in my backpack. These are kind of the things you're going to see in this video, where it's like, why would a homeless person have that with them? But what people don't understand is homelessness is not based off of what items you have. I know when I'm filming my videos, I have gotten so many comments like, oh, she can't really be homeless because she has braces, or she's wearing shoes, so she can't be homeless. Okay, maybe the shoe comment is a little bit more absurd, but the reason we have some of these items is mainly because we happen to have some of the stuff with us, and then down the line we lost everything. And so even though it has been a struggle keeping this because it's glass, so we have all been concerned about this breaking down the line, but like, it's just out and exposed. And before, this would sit on my mom's vanity, but now we were homeless and we're carrying around this bottle of perfume. And sometimes we have wanted to get rid of things, but it's like, this bottle of perfume was $250, and it's like, it seems like a waste to just get rid of it. So yes, in this video you will be seeing me carry around things that I guess a homeless person wouldn't carry around, but it kind of is what it is, and we are not willing to get rid of some of these items because this bottle of perfume, like I said, $250, and that'd be such a waste to get rid of it. I feel like when it comes to my clothing bags, the most interesting bit isn't really the clothes themselves, but the way they are folded. And we fold our clothes in a very specific way because when you are traveling, you want to really maximize your space. And I'm gonna show you all how we fold our clothes. And initially I just had one, but recently when I went shopping, I had to get a second bag. So this bag is pretty new. And we like to fold our clothes like this. Notice that it's rolled up. It's like a little burrito. We roll everything up like a burrito. If it's a hoodie, if it's pants, if it's even just socks, we like to roll it up like this because we have learned that this really is the best method. And it doesn't have to be just thin shirts. Like, this is a hoodie, and look, it's all rolled up and it's in my bag. I'm pretty sure you all are curious to know how we fold up our clothes, so I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to use this black shirt as an example. Now, it's a little wrinkly because that's what happens when you roll them up, but the first step is to actually fold the sleeves inward. So I take the two sleeves and I'm going to bring them inward. You can do this with short sleeves as well. Of course, it's just not going to be as long, and so I usually like to overlap them, but usually if it's short sleeves, you just kind of take that little bit and just fold it like this. Now the next step is to go at the bottom and to take the bottom of the shirt and to fold it. This is how you secure the shirt or the pants, whatever you're using. This is how you secure it, by having like a little pocket. Now this shirt is relatively thin, so the pocket doesn't really have to be that big, but let's say I was doing a hoodie, I probably would bring it all the way up to here. And you want to make sure it's even on the back. After we've done that, I'm going to fold it in half, so it should look like this. And if there's like extra bits right here, I'll tend to fold it inwardly. I'm going to move it like this, so my pocket should be on the other side, and I'm going to roll it up. And I like to make it as tight as possible. Once I reach the pocket, I'm going to take it, and now I'm going to wrap it around my shirt. And you see? Now we have a secured shirt, and you know it's not gonna unfold because of the little pocket. The only time it will unfold is if it's not tight enough or if the pocket's not big enough. So you want the pocket to be nice and big, but obviously not too big. I think I did a pretty good job this time around, but this is how we fold all of our clothes. The clothing bags are the least of our concerns because with the material, it is easier to kind of like stuff these bags. Now, we have had to get rid of clothes from time to time if we feel like the bags are just overstuffed. But overall, because of the material, we're usually able to just kind of put things in there and make it work. I know some people are going to ask, like, how come we don't use suitcases and instead we just keep using more and more bags? And the reason for that is a suitcase is just more complex. We have had suitcases in the past, and once again, in our circumstance, it happened to just be so that certain people had luggages and other people didn't. Like, I didn't have a luggage personally. I only had a small backpack. However, the triplets had some luggages. My mom had a few suitcases. So we have had luggages in this situation, but now we no longer have any of those luggages, mainly because they're just too bulky. We like having the bags because it's easier to pack. Like, if you see our car and when it's fully packed, like we packed the car before we left the shelter, everything just fits so perfectly. And let's say if there's not even enough room, you can at least bring the bag with you. And like in my case, since I sit at the front, I could hold my bags if need be. When it comes to a luggage, you just can't do that. And then we have been in positions specifically where certain hotels did not have an elevator. So when we brought all of those luggages, we had to go up and down the stairs, up and down, up and down. That was not a fun time, and after that we were just kind of done. And even though we didn't have a car back then, now having a car, we just really made a big shift. Like, just get rid of every single luggage. And we honestly prefer the bags. I personally like the bags because it's less items and it's easier to carry. Like, everyone can pretty much carry their own personal bags. Even the bags that I have, they may be a little weighty at times, but I'm overall able to carry them versus like me carrying a big suitcase on my own. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. When it comes to more valuable items like my iPad, my computer, my camera, and even more electronics, these electronics that need protection, some of these items I already had with me, and even since Christmas I've been gifted with more electronics, but I want to make sure I'm being responsible with them. And there were certain points where we didn't use any of the items. Like, I was carrying my camera the entire time, and I just started filming again like 2 months ago. But overall, regardless if I was using it or not, it was all about protecting it since it was still in my hands. So this is how I protect all of my gear, using this. This is a laptop bag. We also like to call this the electronic bag because sometimes it has other things in it. But overall, this is how we carry all of our electronics. We already know when someone grabs this bag that it is fragile. We don't just throw it around. It has to be in very specific spots. And I have carried this everywhere with me, outside, at a friend's home, wherever. Like, I carry it with me because I knew, like, okay, this has like a lot of goodies in here, and I don't want this to be in the wrong hands. But I'm gonna show you the electronics on my shelf because I don't currently have that many in here, and I want to show you how I like to organize my electronics. This is my electronic shelf. This has everything and more. Usually when we were traveling, we wouldn't put anything on the shelves because we weren't sure about the time frame. Like, sometimes we would stay in hotels for only 1 day, or other times it'd only be for 2 weeks, and sometimes it would be 3 months. And in this case, we felt very comfortable with putting everything out here. But most of the time, these are the things that were in my electronic bag. And there's a few ways I like to organize everything. 1, I like to have everything in a case. Or 2, it has to be in some baggie. Or 3, it has to be in a box. Protection is just really important to me because, like I said, these are valuable items. So if you look over here, this is my Nintendo. I recently received a Nintendo from you all, and the first thing I did was I bought a case for it. There was just no way I was gonna walk around with the Nintendo just open, because there were times where we were sitting on the curb and then there might have been snow or rain, especially since we were in Michigan at the time. And I remember there was this one time where my laptop did not have a case. Like, if you look at my laptop now, it has like this blue case over it. That was not happening before. I didn't have time to get a case before we became homeless, and I just remember one time having my bag sit out, and because we were on the curb, it just was soaked. And I remember thinking after that, I need to get a case. I need to get a case, because what is the point of having the laptop if it's just gonna get destroyed by all the water? So that has always been like a concern, is making sure that even if water's to touch it or we're in precarious situations, everything is protected. So my camera was always in here, and I noticed my camera wasn't affected by anything. Like, my bag has been in odd situations, okay? And my camera has been protected since day one. And sometimes it's not just about protecting things, but it's also about keeping everything organized. So my mom gave me this bag to put like my go-to electronics. So I have my old mouse here. I have like some cords and chargers that I put in here. So when I want to grab out some things, I don't have to grab up my full electronic bag. I can just grab this out and I know my essentials are going to be right here. Or the last item I talked about is boxes. Now the mouse is not in here currently, but I know when I need to put it back, I couldn't find like a bag or a container. I didn't know what to put it in, but I just decided to keep the original box. Now this is a little bit more bulky. I do prefer to have a bag or a case, but once again, I'd rather have it in a box where it's contained versus throwing it in there. But overall, that is how I like to organize my electronic bag. But now we're gonna move on to the next bag. This is another bag that I haven't shown yet, and it's my school backpack. The best thing about the school backpack is it has a handle. You can easily roll this backpack, which is why this is my school backpack, because before I had majority of my books in my personal bag, but I was getting so many books that I need to be in just one spot. I specifically have like bigger textbooks, especially since I started learning languages. This bag was not my original backpack. This was gifted to the triplets specifically, and even though a backpack may be given to one person, eventually we start to recognize that if a person needs a bag for a certain thing, we'll move things around based off of what a person has. So this was initially the triplet school bag, but since they were gifted with other backpacks, they actually have a different bag that used to store all of their school supplies, and I was able to get this one. And once again, this is pretty heavy. I would not be able to carry this one, but since it has wheels, I can easily roll it. This bag is the better option for a lot of my books. When it comes to my personal bag, you all are probably very curious to know what's inside of it, because this bag is quite heavy. I know it's going to be on my back, so it's like easier to take. So let's see what's inside of it. So when it comes to our items, like when I'm organizing my bag, I do take the time to really sit down and think about how I'm going to organize it and what would be best to put at the bottom as like a platform and what would be best to put at the top. So usually at the top, it's like my thinnest items, my softest items, because when you have things that are a little bit thicker or a little bit bulkier, it'd be a lot harder to close this bag. So I will show you all some examples as I show some of these items, but I'm gonna start showing you all some of the items that I have. The first thing I'm gonna talk about is this children's book. This is called Carly Only Eats Carbs, and in Chinese it'd be 挑食的卡莉, which just means picky Carly, like she's a picky eater. So this book is just so adorable. So you all know I'm learning Chinese, Italian, and Japanese, and when it comes to language learning, the best way to start is to use children's books because the language is simplified. What I like about this book in particular is that it's a bilingual book. So you have, for example, the Chinese characters, you also have the pinyin, which is just great, but then we'll also have the English down here. I haven't had the time to sit down and study it because I really want to go through the entire book and pick out words that I don't know. I have read it once, but this just makes me excited about language learning, having books like these. I want to get more children's books in the future, but I think this is a pretty good start. The next item is another children's book, except this one's called Mama's Fruit Belly, which says Mama de 水果肚 in Chinese, and it's just all about the baby growing, of course, and talking about how she's having a new sibling come into the picture, but it's the same format where we have the pinyin up here, Chinese character, and then the English, and some adorable illustrations. I mean, look at that. That's just so cute. Just another children's book. I really want to get more from this author because they're from the same author and I really like her books. Underneath those books, you can start to see how I'm trying to build up. At the top, I have thinner books, but now I'm getting into some of the bulkier books. This is one of my sketchbooks, and this one has a spiral on it. This is one of my old sketchbooks. When we lost everything, I happen to have one of my old sketchbooks, and I'm just so grateful that I have this with me because I had another one and I currently don't have it with me. I also had a lot of old artwork, you know, just all of those childhood memories, they're gone, and I'm grateful that at least I have this sketchbook because it really shows my growth. I will say it has been easier to know that I have at least some of my stuff because I was doing my art channel, so majority of those videos are privated, but I still have record of those things, you know what I mean? So this is the only thing though tangibly that I have currently with me that is on the older side. So this sketchbook is really sweet and special because it shows a lot of my growth as an artist. Now underneath the sketchbooks we have more books that have spirals on them, but I have my planners with me. So these are quite thick and that's why they're at the bottom, because it looks literally like this in my bag and they have these thick spirals. But these are the planners that I use, well, not really anymore since I realized that I actually did not like planning daily and I moved over to a journal. But these are the planners that I'm still deciding to use for other things. Like I'm going to probably fill it up with like YouTube content and things like that because I think it's a waste to throw it out. Let's be honest, this cover is adorable, but it didn't make me want to plan anymore. Sorry, Hello Kitty. It was a good ride, no pun intended. After taking out the books, this is what my bag currently looks like. I have two of these bulkier containers and I felt like stacking things on top of these would be a better way to have everything stacked up neatly. And this is what I'm talking about, like where you would not want to put this at the very top of your bag because when you want to close it, let's say it's overstuffed, you're gonna have a hard time closing it. And these specifically, this doesn't have any give. Like there's nothing I can do to smush this down in comparison to this. This is another pouch and I decided to keep this pouch at the top, mainly because first of all, it just has, you look inside of it, it literally just has some washi tape, and then I have a palette knife. Oh, look at this little baby palette knife. But anywho, it doesn't have that much stuff in here. There's really nothing in here. So what that means for me is it's easier to put this at the top because let's say I want to stuff my bag, I can just flatten it out. It does have items in here, but this has way more give than this. So this is why this goes at the bottom, this goes at the top. I personally like having these little containers because it keeps things organized. I think you all can kind of tell that I like to organize a very specific way because my mom really helped me to understand what organization really is and how to compartmentalize things. When I was younger, I really wasn't interested in organizing things because at the time I didn't really see the point in it. Like in my mind, I felt like if I knew where everything was at, why am I organizing it? But now I have learned to appreciate, you know, all these organizational tips that she has given me and learning how to organize things on my own. Like when I organized my bag, I learned how to do that myself. And it's all about experimenting and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. Most of the time I'm sitting down trying to figure out, okay, would this be better at the bottom or would this be better at the top? Would this be better on its side or would it be best if it's facing upward? These are the things that you're thinking about. You know that this space is real estate and it's very precious and you can't make the bag any bigger. You just have to work with the bag. Most of the time I have picked up a lot of my habits from my amazing mother. So I just am really grateful that I have these skills because it just makes me a better organizer and I get to keep everything neat. If I go to the other side of my bag, on top we have a Dork Diaries book, but not just any Dork Diaries book. You guys, are you seeing this? It's in Chinese. I I figured that when I was ready to move on to something a little bit more mature, I didn't want to get like a science book or anything too crazy, because that's like the biggest thing with language learning. It's always trying to find that sweet spot. It's not too difficult, but difficult enough to learn new things. And I knew once I finished those children's books and I picked up more vocabulary, I was going to want to basically ease my way into it. Because if you really think about it, that's how you learned your native language. Like, none of us come out of the womb reading this. The parents slowly introduce concepts and words to you, and then when you go to school, all that gets refined, but then you're still slowly building up those reading skills. And I was thinking about like a preteen type of book that I could read, and I remember reading Dork Diaries when I was in 4th grade, and so I decided to get it in Chinese. Eventually I want to get Dork Diaries, like the series, in all the different languages that I'm learning, because this is currently book 3. I do not have book 1 or 2, but hopefully, let's say with book 1 it can be in Italian, and then book 2 could be in Japanese. Like, it's just so cool. But this is one of the first books that I plan on reading, like a physical book where it is geared towards a native. Oh my goodness, just so exciting. This motivates me to keep going. On this side, I decided to put my gouache there. Once again, it's a very big item. I think this is actually the biggest item. This one is, once again, pretty hard. So I decided to put this at the bottom and then put things on top of it. I basically have like this flat surface in a sense when I put all these harder containers at the bottom. Remember I talked about having to have things in different directions, and with these color pencils I did just that. Because I already kind of established my little platform with the containers, this was another item that doesn't have a lot of give, but it needed to go in my backpack. So instead of having it face like this, I faced it like this on the side of my bag. Hey, good thinking, good thinking. This container is supposed to have 36 colored pencils in it, but it actually has more than that, because usually what we start to do is, if we're recognizing that we're running out of space, we'll start to put like items in here. The other one was still a little bit smaller than this one, but why have 2 different tin containers when you can just put everything together? And that's what we'll start to do. We'll start merging some items because it just makes the most sense to save on space. And since this was the bigger tin, I have every single color pencil in here. That was the main part of the backpack, but we still have a few other places that we can explore. The front pocket here is basically like my, I guess you can say, self-care girly item. So at the top I have my perfume. I decided to put my perfume in here because I have makeup in here as well. And so these are all the perfumes from Scentbird. So anything that wouldn't go in my toiletry bag, I basically put it here because it's extra. Underneath it is my makeup bag. It's so interesting how I have downsized so much. Like, I will say having bags has, oh my goodness, made us live this minimalistic lifestyle. Like, when I was living in a house, I had a caboodle to fit all of my makeup, and now I just live out of this bag. So these were one of the items that I happen to have with me. Like, I didn't buy any new makeup. If anything, I've been gifted with some makeup products, but I haven't bought any makeup. And I know it may be interesting to some of you all because I really don't wear that much makeup. Like, even now, I don't wear any makeup. But that was not the case before. I used to really love doing makeup, and I used to make a lot of fun looks. For me, makeup wasn't even about finding my identity in it, but I just looked at it as another art form. Like, makeup to me was just a way of expressing myself. But the older I have gotten, the interest in makeup has just changed. I'm just not bent to it as much, and I love just being more natural. To me, I'd rather show off my authentic skin than cover it up. The last items in this pocket are my paint palettes. Did I just say paint palettes? I'm thinking about art. My makeup palettes. These are all eyeshadow palettes. I currently have 3 of them. Once again, these are just items that I happen to have with me when we became homeless. More than likely, I probably will end up using it for clay, because you can use the pigment of the eyeshadow. I don't know, I'm always trying to find ways to use things, because I feel like if it's in here and this was like still money spent, I don't want to just like throw it away. But then I also know if I'm not using it, it shouldn't be in here. I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do with this makeup, but it's in here. We looked at the front, let's look at the back. On top, I have my Hello Kitty pouch. I had like this whole Hello Kitty theme, and I think these items are still relatively cute. For example, some Hello Kitty sticky notes. These are really cute. I also have Hello Kitty pens. Like I have a Hello Kitty bookmark. Just all of my little Hello Kitty knickknacks. At the top, I have just a few journals. These are journals that I just use for specific things. Like I want to use this journal to write Japanese in it. Time to get out the big boy. Yeah. So this is an art book, and this book is so big. Oh, my backpack fell over. Don't mind her. But look, my head is smaller than this book. Like, it is massive. And when it comes to art books, I don't even watch a lot of TV. Even this movie, I vaguely remember it. I don't even really remember watching it. But as an artist, what matters to me is the art. And I remember this book specifically, or this movie. This was a really popular movie, not just for its storyline, but its art, because it was mixing 3D and 2D together to get like this very comic book style, and that was very groundbreaking at the time. So when it comes to studying, you know, I do study in a lot of different areas, but I also study art as an artist, and I think the best way to study that is from professionals. And even though I don't personally agree with all the movies or all the different films, I think it's still great to learn from them and then take that and make Christ-based content. Like, that's personally what it's all about for me. The last item is watercolor paper. So I showed you my paint earlier, and I like to use watercolor paper because it's thicker and you're using a lot of water, and this paper is just, oh, you hear that? Nice and thick. It's just really nice paper, but once again, it is massive and not as heavy as the art book, but quite big. Well, that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all were able to know more about me and like how I like to organize things, how we have handled every single item, because we have gained a lot of items. All glory to God that we even have some of these items, but we have lost a lot, and so we have had to learn how to make life bent to living out of bags, basically, and we have been doing this for about 3 years. Once again, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!